I am a call away for your problem. I am a call away to give you the solution, and I am a call away to be there for you at your time of need. When you're staring right at failure, when you know that you have lost lakhs of rupees, you have failed the whole family, yourself, the whole system, you haven't made any money, you spent everything. That when failure is staring right at you, that is when actual resilience and leadership comes into play. You have to be water in a workplace. If you put water in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put water in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. You put water in a jar, it becomes the shape of a jar. When I am speaking and having these meetings with all the heads of the department, I am trying to just be the water and try to understand their point of view and then come on to the conclusion.
Welcome to the CoffeeQs Show, where we sit down with some of the brightest minds in leadership for candid conversations over coffee. From insights on steering organizations to personal stories that shape their journey, we bring you the human side of leadership. So grab your coffee, sit back, and join us on a fresh take on the leaders beyond the boardroom. In this episode of the CoffeeQs Show, we are delighted to host Dr. Saarthak Bakshi, a visionary healthcare entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of RISAA IVF, one of the leading fertility chains in India. Dr. Saarthak's journey is a reflection of his experiential learnings which have led him to become a successful healthpreneur and a mentor to aspiring leaders. So get ready for a heartfelt conversation about entrepreneurship, leadership, and the lessons that shape the man behind the achievements. So welcome Saarthak to the CoffeeQs Show, and I'm so glad to have you on the show today and to be able to learn something from your journey.
Thank you, Ekta. Thank you for having me over here. I am extremely happy, and I mean, it's wonderful to be on your show. I'm here to share about my journey and hope the audience can learn a lot from my journey. As I have personally learned from someone else's journey, it's always good to hear about the path that has been taken by all individuals and all entrepreneurs. And I certainly believe that all individuals have to set their own path. You can't follow anyone's path. Creating your own path, you have to make the right and the wrong choices. So how do you help? How can I help and help the other people in the audience to choose between the right and wrong? That's what we are here for, just to tell our journey, and then they can decide what's right and wrong for them. I believe that's the best thing that we can do through your channel, through your media, and through your podcast, and we're here for that.
Thank you, Saarthak, and I think that's if we are able to help one person, I think we have done a job. So great. So Saarthak, tell me one thing. Your entrepreneurial journey began right after college. That's something we discussed also in person, and with startups that faced multiple challenges. So looking back, what do those early failures teach you about resilience and leadership?
Okay, so I'll start with my journey, back in 2010 when I started my entrepreneurship journey. It's easier said, it seems it's only been 14, 15 years, but it's a paradigm shift, If you talk about to kids these days and tell them, there was a life without Facebook, without Snapchat, without Instagram, without Googling everything, without WhatsApp being the media to share everything, so you can't imagine something like that because you're so used to it. And I'm talking about that pre-era, where we started. We did not have any of these sort of media or something. So whatever, and I believe the same thing goes for beyond pre my entrepreneurship era, early 90s, early 80s, getting things done was way more difficult, but there's always a silver lining to each thing, at that era and this era. So in my entrepreneurship journey, when I started fresh out of college. So I would like to begin firstly by thanking my parents who have actually supported me, to take the plunge, take the risk and go ahead and be an entrepreneur. Don't go the cliche engineer MBA thing and go beyond that. So I want to thank them first of all that they supported me. And secondly, I started with a couple of failures, Now when you're successful, you just laugh it away. But at that point, when you're staring right at failure, when you know that you have lost lakhs of rupees, when you have, you feel like you have failed the whole family, yourself, the whole system. 2 years have gone by, you haven't made any money, you spent everything. People, your compatriots, your colleagues, everything have moved ahead where you start. That when failure is staring right at you, that is when actual resilience and leadership comes into play. Because at that point, either you give up and accept fate or accept your decisions and go to the normal way, or you buck up, you learn from your mistakes, you say that yes, I did some blunders. As an entrepreneur, I might have to face these failures, and I believe all entrepreneurs go through that. And once you've learned from your failures, what should you do so that you do not commit these mistakes when you're trying a journey again? And that's what I did. Okay, whatever happened, I have to go. So resilience, I mean, and I personally believe 99.9% of the entrepreneurs will fail, all of them. Point one, those exceptional cases, those ones that that have magic or that have something different about them, or able to figure out the problem statement or something, leave them apart. The other 99% normal people like us will fail. So how do you take that failure is the most important thing. And once you have taken failure, once you've accepted it, once you have gone through that yes, okay, let me, what else can I do, what's the solution for this failure? Once you have that kind of attitude, then you're bound for success.
Very true. And failure is definitely a very, very important aspect of, say, success. Yeah. So the other side, many times it leads you to success, actually. Yeah. Saarthak, tell me one thing. After those failures, you built RISAA IVF, into a leading fertility chain across multiple locations. I wanted to ask you, what drives your passion for making a difference in healthcare? So why, how did you shift to healthcare, and why do you want to make that change in healthcare? Yeah.
So when I I started with the gaming company as an engineer. What I would do best was coding, or what I could understand from my experience, and I ventured exactly into that. But once I failed in that business or in that startup, back then we could not even take the name startup, or it wasn't as fancy as it is today. So once I failed in that, I understood that it's not necessary that I need to have that core domain expertise to build a business. When you're looking at a lakh or 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs, probably that could be true. But when you're thinking about a very big vision, when you're thinking about crores, when you're thinking about building a legacy, when you're thinking about building geographically irreparable, then you won't say that you need to have those core domain expertise. For any apps, for any startup that you see these days, it's not that Dipinder Goyal is a programmer who codes the Zomato language, or who started with the app development, or who the website development, or Ritesh who started with the OYO's backend or something. So now when you're looking at it retrospectively, I can now tell you that the core domain expertise, it's only valid for starting up for a little while. After that, it's the business principles, it's the resilience of an entrepreneur, it's the leadership skills that you bring to the table, it's the HR that is working with you, the team members that you select. All those other factors are 99% way more effective if you want to achieve success, rather than having that core domain expertise. So I learned that after the failure of the first startup. And once I was able to understand those things, going behind my mistake, then I knew that, okay, what can I do which would propel me, or which would increase my chances of success? What business should I go in for? And that's where the healthcare and the IVF center things came into play. Both my parents are doctors, and apparently neither myself nor my sister became a doctor. We are not into a like a pure healthcare family or a whole medical doctor family where it's being passed on from generations. So my parents are first time doctors, and we never intended to be a doctor ourselves. When I failed in my first startup and the second startup, and I was thinking, what should be the next step? Is it an MBA, or can I do something? That is where I said I teamed up with my mother, who's an IVF specialist, with her core expertise being IVF, but without any other business management principle supporting her, without having the knowledge of how do you create a hospital, how do you create a center, how do you bring in the patients, how do you do something, while she was doing a job somewhere. That's where I felt yes, with that expertise, with healthcare being a niche in India, with healthcare fertility treatment being unaffordable, I would have to digress a little by telling you that everybody feels that having a baby is the easiest thing. Everybody can get babies. India is already a very populated country. Who needs babies? But when I was researching for an IVF center, you won't imagine how much infertility is out there right now, or even back then, back in 2013 when we started this. It is amazing to see the numbers that are actually coming up, that how infertility is now a pure lifestyle thing, can happen to anyone, anybody, the most healthiest of person. Cliched answers like smoking, drinking, drugs, the environmental factor, those are given for any disease. But with the rampant increase of infertility, where we figured out, and without access for proper IVF treatments in tier 2, tier 3 cities, it's not a new discovery for IVF. It's not a very new medical technology. It's been there from the 90s, but the access and the cost was a barrier. So when in 2013 I was researching about it, I was doing my due diligence, that's where I thought that I can actually build something which I can decrease the cost barrier and increase the accessibility to tier 2, 3 and 4 cities, where in rural people just don't accept IVF or fertility treatments. The taboo that anybody can be infertile is so huge that they would actually remarry or leave their spouses thinking. Yeah. So that was the main perception where I started, and we ventured into healthcare and into IVF centers, and that's how the journey began.
Great. So that's interesting to note, and interesting to note that you are actually focusing on tier 2 and tier 3 cities and making that part of the healthcare accessible to a lot of people who really need it. Yeah. Now, coming to our third question, Saarthak. At Amazing Workplaces, we believe that a company's culture mirrors its leadership. From your personal experience and all, I'm shifting to your company side. Because managing this kind of a chain is not easy. You need people, and you need good people to support you. Yeah. So how do you bring empathy and purpose into the workplace culture that you build?
So I actually believe, I've been a very strict boss or employer, feeling that everybody needs to be stricter on the timetable, on the schedule, and we have a debate going on for 70 hours work week or 90 hours work week. But I never followed that philosophy. I actually believe that if a task is given, or how the MNC culture work, it does not depend on what time you're working, when are you working. There's a task, please finish it on time so that you can go home to your time. You have a family, you have everything apart from work. So when I have to look at empathy, and because we are a very female driven organization, we have like 70% of our workforce are females, so there is always this part of empathy that comes into play. And actually go by that quote, that I actually follow Bruce Lee, that you have to be water in a workplace. There are so many times that I disagree with my mother as the co-founder, or I'm disagreeing with our HR head, and I'm disagreeing with the tech head, and all the other, when we have our meetings, with our senior doctors, who are way more clinically adept than I am, who would know way more better medicine stuff than I am. But at the end of the day, I just go beyond with this philosophy that I have to be water. And by water, that I mean is, I follow, this is the famous Bruce Lee quote, that if you put water in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put water in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. You put water in a jar, it becomes the shape of a jar. So be water. Keep flowing, keep following up, and as malleable as you can be. That will help you empathize with each and every one. So when I am speaking and having these meetings with all the heads of the department, I am trying to just be the water and try to understand their point of view, and then come on to the conclusion. At a younger age, I was very hesitant. I was very hell-bent. No, this has to be go my way or the highway. But now 10 years down the line, I am actually free flowing like a water.
That's a great insight, Sarthak, and I'm sure this is something which our audience will take home, yeah, as a learning. That you need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable at the workplace, yeah, especially if you're a leader. There's so much going on that if you get rigid and if you get hell bent on having your way, a lot of time there are bottlenecks and things just come to a halt, right? Now coming to the next question, Sarthak, your involvement with in life actually spans across industries, healthcare, education, startup. How do you prioritize your time and energy across such diverse roles?
It's easier said. I mean, I'll again say that you have to be very driven, if you want a very normal life, it's out there. It's just waiting for you. You can live happily, die happily. You came, you went, your family loves you. It's okay. But if you are trying to achieve something, you'll have to sacrifice. And that's where, I mean, I always say achievement is directly proportional to sacrifice. Anybody that's a sports person, you think they don't enjoy, going out for parties? Do they enjoy dancing? Do they don't enjoy drinking and having casual time with friends, hanging out? Everyone does, but that's a sacrifice that they are making. We celebrate, we say it's easy, that's talent. I don't believe in talent. I only believe in consistency and hard work. I have seen that all sports person, even Sunil Chetri, if people are not aware about the great Indian footballer, he said it so many multiple times. Being fat, it's easy. Keep eating, losing weight or being to the gym is easy. But what's difficult is doing that on a consistent basis, 365 days a year for multiple years, and then keep going at it until even you've achieved it. Next day you're on. You would have heard examples of Michael Phelps. No Thanksgiving, no New Year's, no July 4th, holidays. He was in the swimming pool practicing every day. God damn, I don't know, probably 7, 8, 10 years. And that's why Michael Phelps is Michael Phelps. So to again reiterate that, energy across diverse roles does not come in from the fact that I need to get something. I just want it. It's that simple kind of mentality that you want it. You will figure out the time. You will have the energy. You will not go for excuses. If I go to the gym, my body pains. I mean, whose body doesn't? If you would go, you would also be, your muscles will also be sore. But the next day, if you want to be in shape, you'll go again. But the third day, whatever it takes, you have to take a painkiller, but go to the gym again. Even if you have sore muscles, if you have low cartilage in your knee, if you're on the treadmill, you're just not feeling it because you had a late last night, you haven't slept enough, you're not having the energy from inside. All of those things would become secondary if you want it. And it's just as simple as that you want it as bad as you are able to, need it. The energy then directly comes to you.
Great. I think that was wonderful. So now coming to our next question, entrepreneurship is often seen as a lonely journey. And in this case, how has your family, especially your mother, because I know your mother has had the influence on you because of her being in the IVF space, you started this, business as a IVF of IVF chains. So how has she supported and shaped your path? How has her support shaped your path here?
So I started this I stated this in the beginning of the video that without her, there would not be any RISAA IVF. Without her, there would not be this fertility journey. And without her being able to support, guide, give me the freedom to do whatever I want in terms of business, we would not be here. Obviously, she's my mother. She is way more older and experienced in the fertility or the IVF per se industry than I am. But she gave me enough freedom. She gave me a free hand. Okay, son, do what you believe is right. Do what you think is right in building a business or in building an ecosystem around the IVF service, in building for something for couples, if we can help them. You have my blessings, you have my support, you have my core domain expertise as an IVF specialist for so many years. I'm going to give you that. The rest is up to you. And that's how, so in my first startup, there was a co-founder conflict, between us 3 co-founders. We wouldn't look the other way when things started going bad. And there would never be reconciliation. But with the mother and son, I've always seen that how we have worked able to that, because in the office we may differ, but we have to go to the same home every day, even if you're not going to the same home, if we live separately, but we are going to meet, we are going to bond. And that mother son, or at that family love will always be there to surpass this bickering sort of things that would arise at some point of time. Oh, you did not do this, I had told you to do this, or you did this wrong, where it could have been done something better and this. But that would always be overshadowed by the love that she has for me as a son, and my respect for her as a mother. So we would constantly go beyond this. So this is something which I say that the trust that you cannot develop, say, between friends or between co-founders. The trust, you need to trust your co-founder more than your wife or more than your mother. And this is what I keep on telling you, that immense trust. Whatever decision your co-founder is taking, just go with it. Support them in their failure, applaud them in their success. Give a high five to them, if they have done things right. Give a high five to them even if they've done things wrong. That's how two co-founders can build a great company, or three or four, whatever. But that's how great companies are built. So it is a lonely journey, and I always support that you need to have some sort of co-founder backing you, helping you. Every time, and this, I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs second guessing themselves. You would also see in your journey, am I doing the right thing? The question mark. Is this the
Very
right
often.
step? Very often you're going to face that. Who answers this? You can't keep asking your family, because at the end, some point of day, you'll see, what would they know? I am the one doing business. How can they tell me, even if you are something? You can't ask a separate entrepreneur or someone in a different field, because, okay, you are running a restaurant. What would you tell me about running a hospital, man? I don't, even if I ask you and you give me an answer, I don't value that opinion. And you can't keep on going to someone who you admire, some mentor that I have. I can't keep on going to them constantly. Oh, sir, today I require this. Sir, today I'm second guessing myself on this. Tomorrow I'm second guessing. Day after tomorrow. Can't keep going to them for everything, because then you're not building yourself as an entrepreneur. You're not trusting your gut. You're not trusting the intuition that you have. Having that co-founder balances things. It's that complementary set of skills that you want to bring to the table. It's that inner voice probably which you're hearing, but you need someone to say, oh yeah, let's go ahead with it, let's see what will happen. It's okay, we are trying this, we are in this together. That togetherness feeling, that companionship which people are always looking for, that's again required for entrepreneurship also. It's very difficult to keep on taking forward steps if someone's not there to take that step with you.
True, very true. And in fact, yesterday when we were having the conversation, that you did mention that having your mother as a co-founder in Risa IVF has been one of the greatest supports that you have had, right? So Sarthak, now coming to the work that you have been doing under Upar Women Welfare Trust, what inspired you or your family to build the trust? And why is it important to you?
So, everybody, I think, when you're doing good for yourself, you actually have that feeling that, it's a very, you're not here only for your selfish journey. You're here in this world to help others as much as we can through your business. If you can't help them, if you're only catering to a small sector society, like in our business, we are helping the infertile couples. We're helping each and every one who's not able to, single women, single men, or even divorced women, and all sorts of fractional society, and helping them get babies. But that's only a small section. What else can we do so that we can help bring about a bigger change? What else can we do and give back to the society? Because at the end of the day, I am eating soil grown by farmers, I'm wearing clothes made by someone else. It's a cyclical thing. I personally felt that we need to do something more apart from a very pure business financial aspect, and that's where we came up with this form, Upar Women Welfare Trust, as part of a CSR activity on building up soft skills for women. Back in the day, we would see that infertility was such a social stigma and women bear the brunt of it. Frankly speaking, 50% of infertility is due to men. But living in this patriarchal society, we felt that women are bearing the brunt of it, men are not coming out. And what can you do, so that women who have suffered, not probably financially, probably through the family problems, probably through the hearsay of the society, that, oh, why are you not able to have a child? As if it's only the women that can have, the problem is only with the woman. But we started these things with, upliftment, awareness of women, creating soft skills for women, and the ensuring that women become independent. That was the vision with which Upkar was started. Upkar, as the word says, that you are trying to benefit. You are giving a free sort of service, the women are giving, in terms of how can they not depend on any man for their well-being or the society or for anything. How do we uplift them? The emancipation for the soft skills training, and that's how we started a full-fledged center. Now we have 4 5 full-fledged centers. We are giving soft skills training to women, from computer trainings, from teaching them English classes, which they can further then teach to other students across the society, or take tuition classes, from giving them embroidery skills, giving them multiple other soft skills programs, IT programs. And eventually we saw that the confidence of women became so high. They started earning even 20, 25,000, 30,000 rupees jobs was such a big thing for them. For someone who had never had the confidence of shying out of their house, asking for a job, thinking what skill do I bring to the table, our paradigm shift was to give that skill and make them independent, and actually believe in themselves that every problem has a solution. Just don't give up. We are here to help you. We are here to support you through the journey. And that's how we have been able to help more than 1,000+ women till date.
Okay, that's really nice to hear. So, Sarthak, tell me one thing. After achieving so much, being there in so many areas, achieving so much, what still keeps you excited about the future? And is there a dream project you are still looking forward to?
So very frankly speaking, I always look at as a task and a goal. This is my goal. I achieve it, and then I move on to the next goal. Once I achieve that, I move on to the next goal and the next goal. But that also becomes, as you said, how much hungry can you be? How much more can you keep on achieving? So you have to, I figured out that my passion would sooner or later die out if I don't have a larger vision. If I keep going through this task and goal mentality that I had 5 7 years ago. Okay, I have this goal to be achieved in this month or this year or this quarter, and I achieved it, and then I move to the next one. But you would eventually burn out, and I did burn out myself. That you can't keep on driving yourself from one goal to the other. There has to be a bigger vision, a bigger mission in life. And that's where the CSR activity took place. That's where we started multiple other things. We started a training institute for other doctors, other technicians, other embryologists that we have, and started multiple other things because we wanted to bring a larger impact in the IVF fraternity, the whole gynecological landscape. But in my future, there's obviously IVF and fertility and the business that I'm doing currently. But I actually do believe that I don't need to restrict myself over there. If I have the idea, if I have the will and the strength, I can do so much more because I believe in myself. It's not necessarily that I want to stick to this business because I've started it and I cannot move on to something else. I personally find no limits on myself, and I give this to every entrepreneur that don't bound yourself because you're just in this. If you have built a business, and good that you've built a business, you've scaled it to a new high, you've automated it to that level that that the business no longer requires you. You should now do the same thing for other society, other industries, and other things. Generate more employment, give back to the society. The more good that you do, the more good will come back to you. That's where the vision change happened. In those last 4 5 years that now I have been starting, I just follow this motto. Keep the good work up, and the good work will keep coming back to you. So my vision is, and purely will always be, that keep generating maximum employment that I can have, and the more number of people that you're employing, the more number of revenue, wealth, money that you're distributing, the more families you're feeding, the more good work that you're doing is actually going to help you immeasurably, and somehow you will eventually get all the hard work will come back to you in some essence, in some light, in some way. Don't pay it back, but pay it forward. Right. So it's good to hear from you that from a person who was very goal oriented, today you are actually looking at a larger vision where you can make an impact on maximum number of lives, not just in terms of making people independent, the work that you are doing through car, but even other areas like employing more and more people, impacting more and more women
or couples who want to have children. Yeah. So very good to hear all of that from you. Now I'll come to the last question that we have. With so much happening in life, yeah, you still have a long way to go. So what would you be like to known for when people look back on your career and your life?
So eventually, professionally and personally, I am a very, I would not say I'm a morning person. I'm a very night person. I like to meet people. I like to go out. I like to meet new friends. I would like to chit chat with them. So professionally, everybody has their day job. They're doing excellent in their business. They're doing excellent with their ventures. My personal job is to have this overall holistic view of life, that I actually want that I need to be a people's person or friends person, that if you call me and you require some help, I'm there for you. It's financially, there are not financially, because finances, there are a lot of other people, there are a lot of other ways, but do you require that advice, that support, that caring, that the shoulder that you want to carry on, or the hand that helps you in moving forward? I want to be there for you. In this ideology does not stem purely for a friend. This ideology also stems as a mentor or as an advisor, or as someone helping someone who's starting their journey, starting their business. When I said that I cannot call up my mentor every day and ask them, there have been some people, don't worry, take your 5-10 minutes, ask us a question and we'll be there for you. That is the kind of mentor and advisor that I was looking for earlier in the career, that how do you not keep second guessing yourself. So when it comes to me, now doing business for so many years, I actually believe that I want to be that person who is there for you. I am a call away for your problem. I am a call away to give you the solution, and I am a call away to be there for you at your time of need. That's what my personal vision is.
That's such a simple and yet a noble thought, because it's very difficult to find genuine people you can really rely on to share your problems with, and people who can actually stand by you, listen to you, and just give that helping hand when it is required. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarthak, for such an insightful, conversation, for helping us have a glimpse into your experiences, into your life, what you think about, and where you want to reach in life. Thank you once again for being a part of such a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed it thoroughly, and I hope you also enjoyed it. Now we'll quickly move on to the rapid fire round. Okay. So I'll just begin with that.
Okay.
Who's been your greatest role model in life?
Greatest role model, I would say, has actually been a lot of motivational videos. I actually watch them to keep on motivating myself constantly, because you feel very hung down and depressed most of the times as an entrepreneur. And for me, there's not one role model, but multiple motivational videos which keeps on telling you to buck up, fellow, don't feel down, go ahead, go up, and keep running away.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Energetic, friendly, helpful.
What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Oh, catching up with friends, being out there, going out.
Okay. What's the most exciting thing on your bucket list?
I would not say these adrenaline junkie things, because I've done skydiving, I've done bungee jumping, I've done scuba and all of that. So apart from those adrenaline pumping things, the most exciting thing for me on the bucket list would be quietly sipping on a beach, having your glass of champagne or your margarita and just staring into the sunset without a worry, that, okay, if I can do that for 21 days continuously, that, and not for once, 21 days, if I can do that, I will actually be at rest, be at peace, okay, so now enough is enough. I am thoroughly enjoying my time.
Great. So what's the best advice you've ever received and who gave it to you?
So I read this quote somewhere that fail fast, rise early, which meant, okay, you failed, it's okay. Just learn from the mistake and rise. And I have abided by that advice all throughout life.
Okay. If you could have coffee with any famous personality, who would it be and why?
I would definitely like to have coffee with probably Warren Buffett, if you're talking about an international person, or with an Indian person, just to pick his brain out on his whole thought process, because he's not just one person. He's been there for the longevity of his business. He's been active for for 60 plus years, 70 plus years. I am just looking to continue be that driven for that much time. I just admire the person for the amount of time he's been driven. For me, there's nothing better, Wealth does not matter after a certain point of time, but if you're hungry for that amount of time, there is something special about you.
Okay. Name one book or movie that had a lasting impact on you.
Lasting movie would I've seen, from a fiction point of view, I like the Shawshank Redemption. This is an Oscar nominated movie, very well movie, but it just shows you the resilience of a man. So I really like the movie for just on the character of resilience being shown in the Shawshank Redemption. And I think the book I would really admire is Business Maharajas, which had a documentary of all the businesses that have been built. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? So just to shape your thought when you're doing business, that helped me in understanding a lot about the business philosophy.
What's one thing about you that surprises most people?
That I am so, professionally, that I am in the healthcare business or in a medical field and a doctor, and how I unwind at night and how I'm during the day. It's completely contrasting, poles apart. It surprises to everybody at night that how do you actually so serious during the day and how do you act professionally, whereas when you're unwinding, you're just unwinding to the core, you're like enjoying, dancing, having a good gala time. But that's such a poles personality becomes poles apart during the day and night.
What's a leadership quality you admire most in others?
Be the lion, as simple as that. Be the most driven.
One quote or mantra you live by?
So I actually have this quote and I actually abide by it, that hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and we cycle back to weak men create hard times.
Okay, interesting. I haven't heard that till now. Thank you so much for sharing it. Now that brings us to the end of the CoffeeQs Show with you, Saarthak. It was a very wonderful conversation. I really thoroughly enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, Ekta, for having me over here. It's a pleasure. It was a pleasure chatting with you, discussing, having this passionate conversation with you within the hour and discussing so many things. And thank you for having, these questions which have been so driven. I have done so many podcasts and spoken to so many people, but I really like the whole vibe about, how you've been asking and it just made me very passionate to answer each one of them truly from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Ekta, for having me on your show.